Every day for 6 months, I put my spare change into the homeless man's cup on my way to work. He reminded me of my dad who passed away, so I did what I could to help him. We never spoke a word, but he'd always smile when he saw me coming and nodded at me like I was the kindest person he—
If you ignore me again, I have no choice. I will ignore you when you need me. Please click on the 4 buttons on the right side of the screen. Let my words impact as many people as possible. I promise you that if you trust in God, He will meet all your needs. If you believe it, please write it in the comments. Amen.
He's ever met. It felt good helping him, but then I got laid off work. Money got tight, but I still walked the same way every morning just to give him his change. But one day, as I approached him, he smiled at me, and when I reached into my pocket, I realized I had no change left. I panicked and started digging through my wallet. No change. Just an old scratch card lottery ticket I forgot to use. I put it in his cup and told him, "I'm sorry, this is all I have today. Maybe you'll win something." I walked away feeling like a failure. It was the first time I had no change for him, and when I came home, an eviction notice was taped to my door. I had 14 days to get out. I went inside and packed all my things with tears in my eyes. I spent the next 6 months bouncing between cheap motels and couch surfing, trying to find work. But eventually, I ended up on the same corner as the homeless man used to be. Except this time, he was no longer there. I put my head in my hands, looking at my empty cup and listening to my stomach rumble. I'd never felt so devastated. But then I felt someone sit next to me. I looked up, and it was the same homeless man, but his coat was different, and his beard was shaved. He smiled and held out an envelope. I wiped my tears and opened it, and my jaw dropped. A check for $40,000 stared me in the face. I looked at the man stunned, my hands shaking, and that's when he said his first ever words to me. "I won $80,000 with the ticket you gave me. I waited here every day to give you your half. You never came, but I never lost hope that I'd see you again." I felt so thankful, staring at the check in my hand. He stood up and stretched his hand out to me. "Now let's go. Come stay at mine until you're on your feet." I took his hand. I walked into math class 2 minutes late, and the teacher immediately stopped me at the door with a pink tardy slip in her hand. "I will see you in Saturday detention. Miss, my bus broke down on the way here from the hospital where I was visiting my mom, please." She held up her hand. "You clearly have no respect for authority, and I'm done talking to you. You're getting a—
If you ignore me again, I have no choice. I will ignore you when you need me. Please click on the 4 buttons on the right side of the screen. Let my words impact as many people as possible. I promise you that if you trust in God, He will meet all your needs. If you believe it, please write it in the comments. Amen.
Suspension. Go to the principal's office." I stood there frozen in shock, and the entire class went silent. "Miss, please, I'm sorry. I can't afford a suspension. This will ruin my sports scholarship. Haven't you ever been late for something before?" She smiled at me like I was a toddler. "Nope, I'm ready for anything because I'm disciplined. Now get out." I walked out with only one thought. She had to pay. I spent the whole school year watching her, gathering information I could use against her, and that's how I found out she spent every summer in her Florida house, which meant her home would be completely empty. I broke into the principal office to find her address, and on the last day of school before summer, I marched straight to the garden center with my lawn money to buy supplies for my plan to ruin her. That night, I dug a trench across the mouth of her driveway and planted every single bamboo stick I bought all along her front yard. By July, it was past my chest, and I'd catch myself grinning at it mid-mow because I knew she was about to be cooked. The night before school started, she returned from Florida, and a cab dropped her off in the dark, and I watched from my porch as she stood frozen in front of a 12-foot wall of bamboo, her car trapped somewhere behind it. And when the first morning of school rolled around, I sat in her math class with my eyes glued to the door. Then the clock struck 8:01 a.m. She was officially 1 minute late for the first time ever. Kids started trading looks across the room, and I put my hands behind my head and kicked my feet on the table to sit back and enjoy the show. At 8:43 a.m., the door finally flew open, and she rushed in dripping sweat, blouse untucked, bamboo leaves still stuck in her hair. Before she even reached her desk, the principal leaned through the doorway behind her holding a clipboard. "An hour late on the first day? I will see you in Saturday detention, Mrs. Whitmore. Someone has to supervise it this semester." Her head whipped around the room until her eyes locked on mine, and I gave her a little wave. "I know it was you," she said through her teeth, but the principal was still standing behind her. "Mrs. Whitmore, are you trying to blame a student for your own mistakes?" She flipped around. I think it's best if you leave the school grounds immediately." I leaned in. "What's wrong? I thought you were ready for anything." My new dog ran into Dad's leg while chasing his ball, and my face instantly dropped in horror. Dad's eyes teared up and he sneezed for the 10th time, then pointed at Lucky. "That dog's going back to the pound." He picked Lucky up while he whimpered, but I instantly snatched him from Dad's arms and—
If you ignore me again, I have no choice. I will ignore you when you need me. Please click on the 4 buttons on the right side of the screen. Let my words impact as many people as possible. I promise you that if you trust in God, He will meet all your needs. If you believe it, please write it in the comments. Amen.
Locked myself into the bathroom. Dad pounded the door. "Come out right now or you're grounded." But I yelled back, "I'm only coming out when you let Lucky stay." He replied, "Not happening. I'm allergic." So I put a surgical mask around Lucky's face and sent him a picture. "Now he can't lick you, Dad." I felt like a genius, but Dad yelled, "That's not how it works," and slid a paper under the door. I picked it up and my heart dropped. My birthday parties and Christmas presents for the next 8 years, or Lucky staying. I could only have one. I teared up, but when Lucky brushed up against my leg like I was his only friend, I circled Lucky and slid the paper back. Silence. seconds. Then suddenly, bang, Dad threw his shoulder into the door. "I'm coming in." My legs shook, and I knew we were screwed as the only way out was a tiny window I was too small to fit through. Dad continued hitting the door, and I cried out, "Please, Dad, Lucky's my only friend." He said, "Then this will be a lesson to make friends like normal kids." The door splintered as he hit it again, and my heart broke when Lucky started cowering behind me. The door slammed again, and eventually broke open. Dad stormed in, panting and red in the face. "Where's that damn dog?" Spit flew from his mouth and he looked around at the empty bathroom. I pointed at the open window. "Lucky got so scared of you he ran away." My voice shook. Dad smirked and crossed his arms. "Well, at least he's gone." He walked out. I wiped my tears, then peered behind the broken door to make sure he was gone. That's when I lifted the toilet tank and pulled Lucky out. He was soaking wet and wagging his tail in my arms. We ran into my room where I locked the door and took out his favorite toy.